Welcome to the Ketchikan Public Library. It's DIY with Gayle. Today we are taking jars and turning them into something spectacular. Okay, this is part of a little canister set that I picked up at the secondhand store. The lid on it is damaged and can't be used. And I'm one of those, excuse me, people who likes to have odds and ends. I keep my pencils in, my scissors in, and I guess I'm a dust collector. I love all of those little wonderful, cute little things to stand my stuff in. So, to do this, excuse me, this is air dry clay. So you will need some air dry clay, your container, glass or plastic. In this case, I am using glass. You will need toilet paper or Kleenex. With the toilet paper, if you are using the perforated, it will leave your jar much bumpier, which is totally fine if you like that faux leather look in the background. It really looks awesome. Okay, so that's the perforated, and it leaves a lot of bump, okay? And then with the Kleenex, which is just a 2-ply Kleenex, we take it apart, and that's what I'm using on this one today, is I'm going to use the Kleenex 2-ply, so I've taken it apart, okay? And you will need some glue and a little bit of water. The reason you need to thin your glue is when you put the tissue paper onto your jar, it is very, very thick and will just rip the tissue. So give your glue a little mix with some water. Using a soft brush, my bristles are nice and soft. I have to add a little bit more glue to this one because I added too much water. And then all you do is you take the jar that you want to play with, coat it with your wet glue mixture. Very easy spread, nothing to it. Just get it all over. And then take your tissue paper and just lay it on there. Doesn't matter if it gets all wrinkled, because wrinkled is part of the cuteness of it. And then just take your moistened glue and go over it. And you have to be careful. It's more of a pat than a rub because the rub will break it. Okay, so same thing over here. And I used this bottle with corners so that I could show you. You can do any shape bottle. You can even use bottles that have print on it already, because you're covering it up, and once you decorate with your clay on top of it, you're not going to notice it. And just keep adding until you're completely covered. Now, if you wanted to turn this into, say, a candle holder, instead of doing it for holding your pens or whatever like I'm doing, all you would have to do is leave a little opening, and I'm going to do that on this one because I'm going to turn this one into a candle holder. So what I'm going to do is bring my tissue all around, and looks like I can actually tear some of this one off because I have more than enough there. And yes, adjust as you go. Just have fun with it. Get the tissue paper sealed to your bottle, and then, like I said, I'm going to do this one as a candle holder. So I'm going to make a little doorway. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to be able to see into my bottle, and I want the tea candle that I'm going to put in there, the tea light, to be able to shine through. All right, come on up here and get all those spaces that you didn't get before. It's a little messy, but not hardly at all. I mean, this would be a great thing for even the kids to do. You could sit down, hand everybody a pickle jar, and go for it, you know. The air dry clay, I don't remember what I paid for it. It's been quite a while since I've purchased it. I did see it at Walmart. And for those of you who do not live in Ketchikan and don't know, and the reason I say Walmart all the time is because it's the only big craft area in a store that we have here in Ketchikan. So most of the craft stuff is purchased from them. So there you go. Now you want to get it all covered, everything, okay? I want to stop here and we'll just go with one that I've got done. So this is it, okay? You have to let it completely dry. And then comes the fun part. If you have any cutout stamps or anything like that, grab those. Anything that will make different shapes on it, anything at all. Then grab your clay. As I said, this is air dry clay, and I chose this today just because I didn't want to goof with having to bake or any of that. Use small amounts of your clay. Keep it inside of the package that it came in, and really keep it closed up because it dries out very fast. If your clay is super moist, just take some talcum powder on your hands and maybe even sprinkle a little down depending on how wet it is. Mine is not bad at all. Of course, it's been opened for a few days. And just start. We're going to need some little snakes for our vines. I am going to do floral. If you wanted to draw your design on your container, you certainly can. Okay, so, and here it is. I mean, I don't know about you, but I play Play-Doh with my kids all the time. I love Play-Doh. So for me, this is like going back to childhood, you know? So for the I call them snakes, but they are actually stems for the flowers I'm going to make. And then all you do is take your glue, put it on your jar, and then take your clay and follow your glue and go back, and you need to push it down in there, okay? You want it to stick and adhere to the jar itself, so we're pushing it into that tissue paper a little bit. You don't want to push it so hard that you lose its form, but then again, losing some of the form is kind of cool too. Okay, and you just keep adding like this. All right, and I'll add more there to make that little curlicue. And let's move to this one that I've already done quite a few of it. There's my string. This is dry, okay? And then for my flowers, I'm gonna set that down. For my flowers, all I did make a little shape like that, kinda, and then just push it down. And look, you have a nice little shape, okay? So that was for these flowers. Now, if you decide to curl them up, remember, these will break very easily. You risk having chips and stuff. But, seeing this is all recycled, reclaimed, why not have some fun? For my leaves, I lucked out and had a little shape here that I used. And all I have to do is take a couple of those. If you want to have nice smooth sides on your things, you can run your fingers over and make sure they're smooth. I personally did not care about them being smooth. I liked the rough look. Here's my leaf, and I can take something with a point and do a couple of lines on it and leave them rough. When your paint goes on, it looks really cool. Okay, and I think I need a bigger one for my leaf than that one. Let's see if I have a bigger one. Not really. How about some ladybugs? I thought some ladybugs might look kind of neat on it too. So I also, for the butterflies, this is a cookie cutter right here. I used a cookie cutter for the main part of the butterfly. And then I just rolled a little body and stuck it on there. And you can see my body has rolled. The glue had slipped. Don't worry about it. I mean, unless you really are worried about, pick it off then. But it really doesn't matter. And I'm going to show you a few things on the one I finished. It just doesn't matter if you miss. I've got a green paint on the jar here. It doesn't matter. It just makes it all look that much better. It's homemade, it's beautiful, and you did it. And that's the whole idea. So find some cookie cutters or other shapes, and then let me show you next. I've got to put this clay in the baggie, you guys, otherwise it'll just dry out on me so fast. And one thing about this is, as you saw, this one is dry, and I still added to it. And you can do that. Just keep adding to it. All right, let's go to the glue part, or not the glue, the paint part of this. Now this one, I'm going to do, I think I want it green. I'm not going to do the black background. I want a green black background this time. And let's see, what did I do with my paintbrush? I'll just put a bit here, so. And then just cover it, okay? You're covering the whole thing. Don't worry about covering your little pieces. We're gonna paint right over those with other colors. As I said, on the first one I did it in black, which I love the black look, but this one I wanted to use the metallic green. All of my paints today are metallic, just because that's what I like. And the longest part of this craft is the waiting for everything to dry. That was probably the hardest part for me. As you guys know, I like kind of instant gratification. And I'm only going to do this half of it because I don't want this to be a super long video, of course. And I just want to carry on and show you. Once you're done painting your special jar, you will have to decide what you want to seal yours with, where you're going to use it. I'm just going to use a regular sealer on mine when I'm done. Now look, doesn't that look neat? I just love the metallic look. Make sure you get down in underneath of your clays so you don't have any white showing. Okay, and especially under these flowers, get deep down under there. I'm not talking about the petals themselves because we're going to change those. They'll probably be a metallic blue because that's what I like. But get that main color down under your items so that you don't have any white showing along the edges, okay? And then once you get that done, then comes the fun part. Then you can paint all your little doodads. Now for this one, let's see, I've got the butterfly there. Oh, I can't lay that down. I think what I'm going to do with the butterfly is make him a blue. Yeah, the butterfly will be blue. And just keep going, you guys. A little here and a little there, and the next thing you know, you have this amazing jar. Best to wait for your paint to dry, but I'm just giving, like I said. And so this is all you're doing. Okay, there's my blue. I'll put gray, I think, for his little body. And let's see. Red for those little hearts, which I think I'm going to add some hearts to those butterfly wings also. So here's the heart. Now, you see that I just painted the top of it. If you can, if you don't have the shakes, too bad. I get the shakes, so sometimes I can't do my sides. But try and get your sides if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. It will still have the green color on it. It will still be beautiful, and it'll still be 3D. Okay? So again, cover your little, in this case, heart, and then go along your sides. And like I said, only do that if you don't have the shakes. And I'm actually doing pretty good today. And if you get it on the jar, remember what I said, it just doesn't matter. All right, so you get to that point, all right? Now I am going to just leave my vine like that. Oops, I missed this one. My vine just like that. The green is the green, and I like it, and that's the way it's gonna be. All right, so you see that? Looking good? The second to the last step of this now is to sponge it. So I have a little sponge here, with a piece of hair on it, there we go. The sponge needs to be wet, so have a little water on hand, moisten your sponge. In this case, I'm going to use the metallic royal gold, which is the same color that I used on that other one. And like I said, make sure your sponge is wet, dab it into the gold, and spread it out a little bit on the paper because you want to dab. You don't want it too thick, and just give it a little try. Still a little wet, and you can go back over it, don't worry. And there's your highlights. What do you think? Now this is going to take a couple of hours to do because you need to dry it and everything, and normally I would have done the whole thing at one time, but you can do it piecemeal like this and it turns out beautifully. So there you have it. All this is a canister that the lid's no longer worked on, and I just couldn't throw them away. So if you have some jars, go for it. It's fun. The clay takes overnight to dry thoroughly. It only takes a few minutes to start getting firm. And you will have to watch, for example, this one, because I set it down and I didn't get enough push on it. It had slipped, which is not a problem. Now, I used floral and butterflies, but you can use whatever you want. The big thing is enjoy, have fun, and craft on. Be safe, people. Take care, mask on. See you at the library.